Came across an article from GenNnews.com, which is Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology News website. And the title of this was Misfolding Protein May Pave the Road to Personalized Medicine Approach. And I've seen an article or two about this before, not necessarily, I can't remember if it's from this website or not, but it speaks about misfolding proteins and how it causes things like MSA and Parkinson's. So the big thing here is proteins fold differently, especially when it comes to Parkinson's type diseases. And you got proteins that basically fold as a square, a circle, or triangle, just different shapes. And, one cure or one treatment or one gene modifying treatment might take care of those squares, but not the triangles. So I read about that a few weeks ago, and I thought that was pretty interesting. This one talks about maybe a cure for MSA. And if not a cure, the stopping of MSA, of multiple system atrophy, stopping. Well, keynotes of it, I'm quoting from the article a few times here. The researchers at the University of Massachusetts have discovered that University of Massachusetts Amherst have discovered a mutation of the misfolding proteins that causes Parkinson's disease offers protection against the fatal neurodegenerative disorder MSA. Basically, the E46K mutation of an A-synuclein protein replication in mice was halted. Interesting. I know they use mice for a lot of testing and things like that, and mice generally have a short life compared to humans. So it speaks about that. So this assistant professor, Amanda Warman, said that in MSA, the protein misfolds into a self-templating prion conformation that spreads throughout the brain, leading to progressive neurodegeneration. So she says that this E46K mutation of an A-synuclein causes familiar Parkinson's disease, which they had previously discovered that the mutation blocks in vitro propagation of MSA prions. So the E46K is good for one thing and bad for another, which the article goes on to talk about. And it goes into the framework for gene therapy, the future. You got to have something to modify genes, and this is what they're talking about, this E46K mutation. So, she asked, the big question in her lab is, how does a single protein misfolding cause a variety of diseases, right? And what's the mechanism that allows a protein to cause both MSA as well as Parkinson's disease? Two completely different diseases. It says that the E46K, the mutation, it's not able to fold into the MSA shape. Again, just, for keep things simple, squares, circles, triangles. Square can't go to triangle, triangle can't go to a circle. So that mutation, right, it blocks the progression of the disease of MSA, because it blocks the folding of the protein, which is absolutely great, right? It says researchers observed that mutation similarly blocks MSA transmission in mice over a 470-day incubation period. I know what they do is I've read this many times, is patients who donate their bodies, more specifically the brain, they take the disease that's in the brain and they put it into these mice for testing. So, which they talk about later at the later in the article. That's how they test for it. You just can't make up MSA. They got to have the actual disease. So she says this tells us a single change in the genome can have a protective effect against MSA. So it stops MSA or stops it from starting, right? So once you got it, it'll stop it from going any farther or stops it from actually beginning. The problem is the mutation of that was E46K, synuclein mutation. That protein is actually known to cause Parkinson's. That's what causes, typical Parkinson's. So, there is a method to stop it and potentially to cure it, but you're going to have definite Parkinson's. I don't think, I guess that's a hard question, is, hey, do I want MSA or do I want Parkinson's? Quite frankly, I'm not going to answer that on a YouTube channel. Okay, that's for each to decide themselves. At the very end of it says that donations to brains by families who've lost loved ones is the only way that they can test these things, of getting the diseases from the brains and putting them into mice, for testing and things like that. In the last sentence, as we think a lot about the lost lives that enable us to make these discoveries, if what we're doing leads to a treatment and maybe even a cure, what greater way is there to honor that gift? So that's another conversation I wanted to have. Another video topic is potential donating one's body to medical research. I've also joked about that plenty of times too, but that's actually something that's legitimate and a fair question. So just curious, I'll post a link to this website, genengnews.com, GENENGNEWS.com, Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology News. Great website, great link, and there might be something for MSA around the corner. So we'll take a look at it. If you enjoy what you see, click like and subscribe. I appreciate you. Have a good one.